We haven't really talked about AI pretty much ever on the channel, and today we're going to go and change that because, well, the entire AI system within Stellaris is going to be overhauled as well. This is the stealth update, this thing that nobody talked about when it came to the 2.6 Vern update. It is, of course, the AI. Now, the AI can be split into three categories right now. It is the Foreign Minister, the Interior Minister, and the Military Minister. All AIs are referred to Minister, which makes up the government, so to speak. Now, in this particular video, we're not going to be talking about the Foreign Minister because that will most likely not come out till 2.6.1. However, we're going to be talking a little bit about the military as well as the Interior Minister. So let's take a look here at the military AI. Now, for those of you who have been playing Stellaris for a long time, you will know that the military AI, or at least any AI in the game, is pretty much pants on head dumb. And that's totally understandable. When the game first came out, it was relatively stable, but if you're going to start adding more and more things on top of it, things spiral out of control kind of rapidly here. And I do feel that the team didn't really upkeep the AI system, so instead they completely rewrote it to deal with the more complex situations and streamline them and make them more reasonable. In the past, the AI system was relatively complex, with certain goals being done on, for instance, on a planetary level, etc. So, what does a military AI do? It's relatively straightforward, actually. First of all, let's say that you are in war with anybody in the game. Now, what happens here? The AI will automatically assign a certain threat level to every single objective that it can take. Your fleet will have a certain level, your systems will have a certain level, and other systems will have a certain level as well. And these will be rated from, say, 5 to 0. It will then assign fleets to engage some of these threat levels, and your own fleets will have your own level as well. In this case, or at least the AI will assign its own levels to this. As such, you will have a better opportunity to fight larger fleets within the game. This basically means that the AI will throw fleets at you that are of a similar size as your own, if it can, and then push for its own objectives. Now, the real thing here is that this is a completely mechanical AI. There is no thinking, there is no neural networking or anything like that. It's all based on numbers. This means that you can read everything perfectly fine if you know what you're doing. If you know what the AI is thinking, or at least how it handles the situation in almost any scenario, then you can play the game rather easily. For instance, we got an image here saying that these armadas, they are attacking and regrouping, and they will be focusing on targets in the Tiralom system. So all these, you have 3 fleets will go together as a group and move towards the Tiralom system in order to engage it. And yeah, that right there is a good illustration of targeting. So all the objectives have been set. Now, also in the image here is that every single area that has a little skull above it is a objective that is being considered by the War Minister. Now, the red ones are selected and they are already committed. So the one in Tiralom, that's a committed objective, whereas the green ones are ones that are being considered. And this completely depends on how many fleets they have available to themselves. Now, objectives will have a score. So, for instance, in this particular case, in the image that we have here, now every single objective also has a score. Now, in this particular case, the AI wants to take Tiralom because it has a score of 4,500, and it has decided that it needs at least 11.2k fleet power in order to accomplish this objective. So they've basically committed their entire armada to do this, just to get a more war score. Whether or not this is going to work out is a whole different case, because, yeah, there's a couple of different ways of going in and out of system, but this will all dynamically update as the game progresses. Basically, as the war moves on, the different objectives will be picked and taken, and war plans will adjust. Now, this also applies to things like the Crisis AI. For those of you in the past who have played a lot against Crises, especially Praetorian, the Unbidden, they kind of break after a while. They don't really do anything. They kind of get stuck. They've been overhauled as well. So, for instance, the Khan will always attack. They will always try to go for the nearest system, which you can then read as, hey, they will jump in as soon as they can. The Praetorian will just go everywhere they can, which is an interesting approach. In the past, they would get stuck and they couldn't build any systems because they couldn't spawn any more construction ships. Contingency will systematically stop the biggest threat to the galaxy until nothing remains. So in this particular case, it's actually a good thing not to be the strongest boy on the block, because the contingency will throw everything against you in order to take you out and then, destroy whatever is left. So yeah, that's one thing that's important there. And the Unbidden will be harder to predict, but there's a reason behind their alien ways of acting. Now, right now, the theory is that they are after psionic races. So if you're a psionic race, they will try to force go for you in terms of warfare. Maybe they won't go for robots. Who knows? Now, the good thing about this is that the entire system is completely moddable. Completely moddable in the sense that you can assign any sort of value to any AI. It also means that StarNet and Glavius will most likely be out of date as soon as 2.6 comes out, and that's something you want to keep your eye on, because of course, similar to the economic system, the economic block system that was rolled out with Le Guin, the new AI system with the ministers is going to mess things up mod-wise. So please be aware of that. Let's move on to the economy AI. Oh boy, the economy AI. Who does not love this, to invade the alien planet and find out they've been building nothing but residences there or something along those lines, and their economy is completely in the crapper and you have no idea what the hell is going on? Well, the economy AI has also been overhauled completely. So in the past, what would happen is that the entire economy of the AI would be focused on a localized objective. A planet would need to be brought up to spec to a certain level, and it would be focused on that. With the new AI system, however, it's more of a overall objective. AIs will have plans, and those plans, of course, are completely editable, and they are completely based on their personality. So for instance, an early default plan would have, hey, I want to make 50 energy a month, 200 minerals a month, 15 food, consumer goods, alloys, and unity, as well as a bunch of research and a bunch of strategic goods. And the AI will then build its economy over all of its planets to get to that objective, whilst also trying to stabilize its own planets at the same time, which is a very interesting scenario, very cool. And of course, this is just a early objective. It can swap objectives all the times, and that's rather good, actually, to see that the AI is being a bit more proactive in its planning when it comes to its economy, and also being able to build up its fleet. A technocracy AI, for instance, would focus a little bit more on science. Militarists would focus more on building ships. Therefore, they need to have alloys and strategic goods, etc., etc., etc. There's quite it's quite easy to see how this would work in a mod pack for AIs. So yeah, that's something that is you want to keep in the back of your head. So yeah, the AI is very, very much more likely to start building specialized worlds like Foundry worlds, because it wants to build fleets, and therefore it needs alloys, and therefore it will start to specialize its worlds, kind of like how the player should be doing, because yes, you should be specializing your worlds. That's how the bonus system works with the modifiers. So yeah, how does the AI actually prioritize different buildings in the build plan? Well, basically it's basically all buildings have a scoring function attached to them, and that also integrates with the plan. So for instance, a planet needs miscellaneous things like immunities, crime reduction, housing, and as soon as that stuff is all done, the planet will be upgraded to fit the goal in mind, and it will recalculate this sort of thing relatively frequently, but not to the point that it will hopefully impact performance. The 2.6 update already has a massive amount of improvements in performance in general, which is rather good. So yeah, what kind of scenario could you find here? So let's say that Empire A is currently missing 200 minerals income a month, and they want to reach that. So they start building mineral districts to actually get those resources, and at the same time also upkeeping their own planets, but slowly but steadily getting towards that point. And the algorithms in the back end will then take care of all of that. But yeah, the AI in general, the upgrade was definitely necessary for Stellaris. It's been a while since we've had polish to the AI. Of course, we've got StarNet AI and Glavius being thrown into the mix over the last a year almost, to improve the AI. I'm really glad to see that the Crisis AIs, for instance, are being worked on and getting a lot more love, because that's something that's been missing, in my personal opinion. It's a bit of a shame that it's gotten this late, but I guess this is a better late than never scenario, because, well, everything's being updated. Federations obviously is the big patch, or the big update that improves everything from performance to, in this case, AI. So maybe you will actually have a better time to play the game versus AI and not stomping everything constantly. One thing that is rather curious, however, there's no word in how difficulty is being affected by this AI system, whether or not the AI is still subsidized by the game by getting free resources or not. So that's something that is we want to keep in the back of our mind. But yeah, interesting. Really curious how this is going to go. I'm looking forward to the 2.6 update. And until we get there, I wish you all good luck. And thank you so much to all of our patrons for making this video possible. If you want to get involved in the Patreon, feel free to join in below. There is a link there. But until next time, take good care of yourselves. And as always, each other.